For someone like Jermaine who's so guarded, this is a great thing to have because you don't really get anything from him like that. He doesn't really do interviews that much.
We don't, not know too much ourselves, but first off,
we don't know anything.
Well, we know what's gonna happen.
Like, if Beyonce lost Kamala the election, did Amber Rose win Donald Trump the election? No.
The announcements have not slowed down, particularly these past couple days. A lot of big superstars revealing a couple things. We'll get into two of the biggest ones. We'll start with something that dropped earlier this week. J. Cole and the Inevitable series kind of came out of nowhere to really blow up on sort of a podcast and audio streaming kind of thing. People are still not quite sure what the right word is, but an audio streaming series that recaps his journey from Fayetteville all the way to becoming, the world conquering superstar that we know. Episode 1 dropped on Monday night. Cats pretty much got a lot from the intro. It was over 2 hours. So it's him and Ebe basically recounting, their journey and how they met. A lot of chatter about the series, of course, because we're going to walk through 10 episodes. And it seems like we're not only going to get, just the story behind things, but we're also getting some new music for the first time on big DSPs. A few episodes of the series have already dropped, and his debut mixtape, The Come Up, hit streaming services earlier this week. Initial reaction, from episode 1, a couple things that were going around, in particular, Kanye's influence, mentioning how big when Through the Wire came through, that gave J. Cole a sense of, that he could really be himself and not have to sort of put on this air about, whether he was a gangster rapper or sort of living this life that his heroes lived that he couldn't relate to. Also, Dollar to Dream, we got a little backstory about that. But what stood out to y'all as some of the big moments or big takeaways that you heard from episode 1?
Yeah, I think that's basically it. The bigger thing is just Jermaine doing this at all is like a big surprise and big takeaway. I think a lot of people are wondering how he's going to move forward, what his plans are going to be. Everyone's waiting for the fall off. No one quite knows how we're going to get there. It seems to have some start stops. This seems like a good way to get back on track.
The rollout seems like, it could really lead into that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is a good way to get that back on track. Get people to remember why they liked him in the first place. People who may be questioning now. The validity of his spot in rap can now look back and be like, oh yeah, I remember why I think he's so great, and I think that's awesome. It's a good product for day one fans.
What, Kyle?
I was just kind of taken aback by how lengthy the entire thing
it's very long.
Seems to be.
Over 2 hours for the first episode.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's a lot in one format of content. Obviously, it's kind of hard to think about Inevitable outside of the context of 100 gigs that came out, just a couple months prior. But with that, we got footage, we got music, we were able to download it for offline listening. You didn't have to put up $10 to access it. So logistically, there were some differences that I found pretty interesting. Overall, it's been a cool listen. It's nice to always walk down memory lane with these artists and get back to the points in their lives and careers in which they were the hungriest and the grittiest. And it's cool to hear that in relation to, I guess, his verses from this year and how much he's grown since then. But I agree with Dame in the sense that him doing this at all is pretty interesting. I'm not sure if I'm sold on this being a way to course correct going into the fall off. I probably would have just taken a couple months silent and come back with a single next year because I really don't want any of this extra stuff right now. I kind of just want
no one does
the
that
fall
anymore.
off. I think we've had our moments where we were iffy on Cole for a bit, but we're all gonna tune in when the album drops. So let's just get to the album, especially if we're gonna have to get through this very not succinctly edited audio series podcast situation before we get to the album. That's a lot to work through before we get to what we really want. But hey, maybe we'll get some Easter eggs throughout the way that'll properly set up the album for us. So I will be tuning in case that is the case.
I'm sure there's going to be more things that pertain more to present day, what he has lined up and what he's going to be doing in the future. I feel like anything he does within the next few months or so is going to be met with, oh, well, why didn't you do this? Why aren't you doing that? All vis-a-vis the beef. And so I kind of feel like as the more he puts between the album and that is good to get it out of people's systems. as opposed to just be like, oh, here's this thing. People are like, wait a minute. Don't you?
So we have to jump off from. It's interesting because this was recorded in 2022, so you do hear some references to that. So it's been in the works for a minute. I mean, now obviously, when you recorded it, things were a lot different versus when you release it. And I mean, we've already mentioned.
It's the same with 100 Gigs. Everyone was like, oh, he did this because of Kendrick, and it's like, as people who make content for a living, it's fucking impossible to produce all of that in the time that people believe he made it. And the same with this. This is a 2-hour first episode. This has taken him at least half a year to a year to put together. And
I mean, if every episode is 2 hours, that's like
that's a lot. That's a lot.
That's
of
like
work.
a day of talking. Yeah. Like that's almost like 20.
And then like mixing.
Found the old demos and worked through all of those and stuff like that. Like it definitely was a massive endeavor.
Yeah. That's.
So I don't think he did this because of where his career might be right now because of that beef, but. I think it's a good card to put down to say like, look at this, like I've done all of this. This is because there's people out there who are like, this guy is no longer one of the best rappers out right now, which I find ridiculous. But him rapping his way out of that is not going to work. He's like put out songs. People are like, well, that doesn't answer our questions, even though he's like directly answering questions. People are like, well, why did you do that? And he's like, well, here's why I did this. And people are like, fuck you. So I think like that's not going to work, but maybe this will, get him some more goodwill. I do think it's for someone like Jermaine who's so guarded and he's like in between if Drake and Kendrick are like a spectrum, he's like in the middle of it. And so this is a great thing to have because you don't really get anything from him like that. He doesn't really do interviews that much. He doesn't go out in public that much. He doesn't do much of anything outside of like playing basketball and rapping in the public eye. So I'll take it.
I also think the staggered release will benefit him better than just dumping it all, like the way 100 Gigs was. It was almost too much content for once.
Through all that was
and we weren't even really discussing it in earnest after like the 2-week mark. But with this being, fresh releases every week with, a focused set of new content, I think this will pan out better in the long run for Cole, which will be interesting to watch.
100 Gigs was like, everybody reads a different chapter of a book, and we all come together to talk about the book.
Messiest book club of all time.
It's like, oh wait, and what happened? He died.
It's like a Netflix show versus like an HBO show.
Damn.
Ooh.
I don't mean that qualitatively. I mean that I'm just.
Yo, that
I mean that. I mean that more so. They drop everything in one batch, so people have to consume it really quickly because the conversation that's happening on social. Assumes that you've digested all of it already. Right. Whereas like an HBO show, it's week by week and like everyone lines up for that appointment to talk about it and to see it. So I think that does help him in this regard.
Of course, we've mentioned the name Kendrick a lot. It feels like everything that happens between Drake and Cole has this Kendrick shadow on it. Are we doing too much by people already trying to read in? Obviously, Elliot had a comment that was going around saying that Kendrick got these light-skinned niggas reminiscing because, here we are. It's November. The beef really was at its high point in like April, May. We're 6 months out. This is recorded before the beef, and yet you still can't escape that shadow. Are we doing too much to try to put Kendrick
this was
on everything?
No, this is the biggest beef we've had in a long time. People forget like the Jay and Nas beef that everyone like compares this to. It took years. It took like multiple albums. Like they were beefing over like 2 or 3 albums. Blueprint 2 came out, and he was still going at this motherfucker. God, it was a Godson comes out. He has Last Real Nigga Alive. He's basically telling Jay-Z, like, you're not one of us. Like, you're not a part of this thing.
You're not like us.
Me and Wu. That was the original.
That was really
the original.
Know your history.
But no, I don't think, it's, think about how monstrous this beef was and how crazy it was for Kendrick. To the point where he has no album, nothing. He has no album. He hasn't promoted anything, really. He has barely promoted these fucking diss tracks, and he's headlining the Super Bowl. Like, no, we're not overstating this. This is like it's a huge thing. It's unfortunate for Drake and Cole because they're the ones who are like collateral damage in that way. But Nah, man.
Collateral.
I mean,
I'm gonna say like collateral. Why are you making everything I say sound
I'm
so
just
negative?
saying, that nigga was straight in the firing line.
Like, you know,
Cole, I'll give you
it sucks
collateral.
to it sucks to not be the victor because
Yes.
this was such a huge moment that of course the blast radius is so wide that it's impossible to not like still talk about it when anything happens regarding those guys.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing too much at all. I think this is really a bit just how the power of these songs and Kendrick musically this year. Even when you saw Mustard spinning like Not Like Us and Like That, I Can't Flog It On, listen to those crowd reactions. Like those songs still move people in really incredible ways.
I stopped listening to it for a while just because I was like, I'm gonna get sick of this and I don't want to hate this song. And then I heard it with Mustard and I was like, still fire.
And if people sick of it, we got year-end season coming up. The Grammys haven't happened yet. We are still several months out from this stage of this all being done. I think this is really more people's attention spans being shot because of social media in this current era than this being anyone doing too much on either side, because it's not even been a calendar year yet. This feels
this
like
was
a fine amount.
This happened this year.
This
was earlier this year.
This was March and April.
This
is not that long ago.
You looking Not Like Us like still number one. I know people on Twitter are like, still like we haven't got the point. We good? Okay, last thing I want to do, I want to ask about the Cole thing because I saw a lot of this popping off on J. Cole's Reddit. $10. It costs $10 to listen to this.
Wait, what?
I was going through Reddit. I was on r/J. Cole to see what was going on, and it's crazy how much the topic was like, are y'all gonna pay for this? Are we gonna pay for this? And everyone's like looking at the autograph lyric.
Wait,
like,
these were people like in his subreddit?
Yeah, talking about like,
put up the $10.
A lot of them were like,
if they don't pay for it, who is gonna pay?
But see, the Swifties would have been put down the money. They need to lock in. Just put in the money.
They'd have put $10 and $100 tip, but a lot of cats were really thinking like, because we're so obviously with streaming, it's free and everything. A lot of people were like really turned off by the idea that you really going like we really gotta pay for this
initially, but then I just took literally 2 minutes to think about how much content is
I get it
being given for $10.
I get it. This is the dollar and a dream guy. This is the guy who had concerts for literally $1 to get in. He's the guy who raps about not knowing what it's like to not have and to go without, and his main fan base, like the main contingent of people he spoke to for a long time were college kids who are usually broke.
Yeah.
And so I can see them being like, what is this? But I don't know, man. Like Jermaine's been rapping for what? Like a decade now.
Close to like 15.
Y'all should be able to afford a $10 subscription by now. I hope.
Well, hey, I know $10 means different things to different people. So.
It does,
but I know what you mean. It's
It's like if you were in college when he came out,
and you can save $1 a year.
You're a fan still, and you're like, this is too much. It's like, I don't know, man. Maybe
your money management skills suck.
Yeah.
All right, J. Cole, not the only one with a big announcement coming up this week. A few days ago, Beyonce dropped this bombshell, really, that she will be performing at the halftime show on Netflix's Christmas Day NFL game, Ravens versus Texans. So it'll be in my hometown and her hometown, Houston, Texas. The press release in particular highlighted it's going to be the first live performance of songs from her genre-bending and record-breaking Cowboy Carter album. So I know a lot of people have been like, hey, the Texas Hold'em dropped in February. The album dropped in April. We ain't heard a word. Here we go. It's going to happen on Christmas Day. Some of the special guests on the album supposed to come out. I love how Netflix sort of teased it, like as if they don't know even. Like they were like,
don't.
Although the details are under wraps, you will get some of the stars out there. So, of course, obviously, everyone looking forward to seeing what Beyonce's going to bring for Cowboy Carter season. We don't, not know too much ourselves, but first off,
we don't know anything.
Well, we know it's gonna happen. We know it's gonna happen. That's one thing I know. Goddamn it, it's gonna happen.
We do know it's gonna be Cowboy Carter.
It'll be Cowboy Carter. See, we got a couple context
y'all not
clues to
gonna hear
work
Halo.
with.
Y'all will hear Texas probably instead.
Yeah, 16 carriages with a meme and all that. So, wish list. Knowing it's gonna be Cowboy Carter centric, Christmas, Houston, all those kind of things. Grammy lead up. What are some of the things y'all are hoping to see from Beyonce's live Cowboy Carter debut?
I mean, I hope she brings out.
I was like, you had 6 months to think about this. I know you got some ideas.
I don't really particularly care about Cowboy Carter that much. I mean, I'm glad she's doing it. But
Well,
I think if she's going back home, then like, come on, bring DC. You know what I mean?
Dang.
What?
I mean, we done got a billion DC reunions for the past 10 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
There's no allure to that anymore.
For me, there is.
I mean, look.
For me, it would be like, unless y'all are singing like 8 Days of Christmas, I don't want to hear it. Like,
wow. Wow.
And I love Destiny's Child, but like
we do. We
have
always
seen
do.
They came back at Beachella. We came back at the first Super Bowl. Like, are there any other songs?
They can't come for 2 songs. They can't come for in their hometown.
No.
When's the last time they performed?
First of all, it's only Kelly's hometown.
I knew it was coming.
Oh my god.
Yo, Michelle. Look,
that's where the group was made.
Yeah, but Michelle wasn't there. Michelle was up in the Midwest doing her thing. She honorary Texan. You know, not Texan by birth. That's okay. But I mean, yeah,
it would be kind of like retreading old ground in a way that she doesn't normally do. Like, on these major performances twice already, she's staged a DC reunion. Mm-hmm. I don't see that happening a third time at another NFL event.
Wait, Super Bowl?
The second time
what was the other? Okay,
Beachella was the second.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything even country adjacent in their discog that they might do.
Nothing.
If anything that she would do, I guess the DC version of it would be like the Blackbird Girls, bring them out for something.
Sure.
I don't see her not bringing out some of the black collaborators on the album. I'd be incredibly shocked if like we got Miley in post and didn't get any of like Willie Jones or Shabuzi or anybody like that instead. Mm-hmm. I feel like she will probably rap in Shabuzi in some way, or at least attempt to. The song is massive. At this point, it's what, a week away from
18,
matching it?
Yeah. The Old Town Hot 100 record is right there in sight.
So we'll have an answer about that by the time.
Yeah, by Christmas.
By Christmas. So, like, regardless, it's kind of the premiere moment for both of them to do something with their massive country songs this year.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a huge jump off if, like knowing where the whole saga started, and now, just months later, you have the potentially longest running number one ever on the Hot 100, like that birthed out of this black country wave. That would be like, I mean, that would be a moment like on Christmas on Netflix
during the last couple of days of Grammy voting. I should note that's when this concert is going to be airing. So this is also clearly, a ploy for her Grammy campaign as well. She picked up 11 nominations for Cowboy Carter across like 4 or 5 different genres. Insane stat there. I hope she does Texas Hold'em. I hope she does Yaya. And I hope she does some collaborations. I'd like a Christmas song, though. I feel like it'd be kind of sad if we didn't get a Christmas song on the Christmas Day after the show. I mean, that'd be cute.
Let's not forget it. It is an NFL halftime show, so she's only got about 15 minutes at the most.
Do we
know
how long her set is? I heard that it wasn't playing like during like the halftime in the game, because there's like 2 games happening that day. It's like going to be in between when those 2 games air.
We don't know how.
It might be
the Super Bowl
longer than 15?
halftime show is 15 minutes. I don't know what they're going to do for this. I also, I think we were talking about this before this taping, like I think Netflix needs this to be something that is, ultra incredible. They're coming off a pretty successful but down event in terms of the way that they were able to handle a live event. A lot of people are already worried that they're not going to be able to carry live football in the way that matches cable. So I think they need people to come there and say, like, all right, not only does this work, but I don't even care about football, and I'm going to come and watch this in the way that a lot of like holiday football works on cable. It's a lot to turn on Netflix just like regularly, and it's like doubly hard to turn on Netflix to watch a football game on Christmas.
What you say is it's hard to turn on Netflix like to like load the stream?
I think it's harder for people to turn on Netflix on like Christmas Day to watch something like intensely, as opposed to just turning it on like and like letting it run while family's in the house and like just paying attention to it. So Netflix needs people to like tune in and like really, really pay attention to this, which would lead me to think that they might do something even bigger than the Super Bowl, where like they have, to Kyle's point, like a Beyonce mini concert that is separate from the game altogether, would be my guess.
Yeah, though I mean I know they're saying that like the concert is also of course part of the game. The game will be airing on broadcast TV, like in the regions, like, so it'll be airing in Houston, it'll be airing in Baltimore for sure. So like it feels like it all needs to come together for everybody, because I can't think that
you need a
it's
reason to
gonna-
turn on Netflix, as
so
opposed to like just going if you're in those regions.
right. So I mean, I can't imagine they're gonna like strip that out as a whole separate entity.
See, that's
like,
why I want to know, like,
because
what does
especially if you're going to the
live
game, like
mean in
don't
this
you-
context? Like, is it going to be live in the way that the pandemic performances were live, where everyone had like their own sets and it was like filmed and stuff, and it was like we're live performing, but I'm not like on the field performing in the stadium, like.
Oh, you're like,
Man,
Yeah, what does
just
live?
pipe it in?
Yeah, what does
Yeah.
live mean, and how does that play with, like, I don't know, a Christmas Day football game that people are already buying tickets to the stadium with the expectation
that's
to
what
see
I'm
her,
saying.
and we still don't have confirmation for sure that she's dead ass gonna be in the stadium performing on the turf.
Yo,
Like,
if we have to do this again, I mean, because obviously, you know, people felt the same way about the Kamala Harris rally a few weeks ago, that Beyonce's going to be there. And of course, they didn't say anything about a performance, but everyone assumed, you know, Texas Hold'em, we're going to be yo, if this happens again, I mean, again, you didn't say what it was
Wait,
going to
if
be.
what happens again?
Like, if people feel like they're buying tickets to the football game and Beyonce's not, you know, on the field at the 50-yard line at halftime, because, I mean, you know, the ticket prices are skyrocketing. Like, people are really... Like, that's like, we're going to look, just paint a dunce cap on all of us if we, you know, if this all
Dunce
happens
cap.
again.
A part of me feels like people who are buying tickets to a Christmas Day football game in Houston, Texas, don't really care if Beyonce is there.
But, yo, like, you can look at the ticket
Like,
value they have shot.
Yeah, I'm sure now
since-
they've shot
yeah.
up because people who are like, oh, I can go see Beyonce at this football
Right,
game. But
right.
like regularly, people will be like, yeah, sure, this is fine. Like the people who go to Christmas Day football games are not like pop music fans. They're football fans.
Yeah, but that's a big setup, a big stadium, a big expectation. And it's just going to really suck if you get there and the marching band comes out and does, you know, their little rendition of Sticky or something, which I would love, but, you know, but not going to be not going to be the same. Not going to be the same thing. I'm just saying. Well, okay, hopefully, you know it's going to be.
I think overall it's interesting because this is going to be her first televised-ish performance in quite some time. The last time was 2022 Oscars for her to be alive, and that was another one of those, like, I'm on a different set and we're like,
It's live beamed in, but
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah.
and before that you kind of have to go to Kobe's memorial service in 2020 for like a straight up Beyonce live performance that you can just turn on the TV and watch. So with that being the case and it being so long since we've seen her on TV in this capacity, I can't imagine that she doesn't use this to launch something. She's known to use the Super Bowl to launch tours and stuff like that. There's been hints of a Ben Country world tour, and the license plate on the car in the promo video has Ben Country on it. So
I mean, I'd be
shocked if
amazing.
there wasn't any kind of announcement, whether it's like tour visuals, I don't know,
Something.
Act 3 lead single, something coming after this, because
a music video.
this is a
something.
lot of eyeballs on her for her music in a way that, like, she has expressly avoided in recent years outside of her own tours.
And it would sort of
So-
follow the sort of Renaissance trilogy. You know, came out in June. Tours announced in February, so you know you give it about 9-month break. It's been about 9 months or so for Cowboy Carter. So
Yeah.
you know you do the album one year, the tour, whatever visual project the next year. So that would follow that kind of timeline.
There was also that report that came out a couple of years ago that she had signed like a 3-project deal with Netflix. The first of which was Homecoming going on Netflix, and this would be the second one.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
Will we get
This
the
isn't-
Renaissance movie on
there's a
streaming
lot of
for its
moving parts out
anniversary?
there.
Do we get a whole different project for this
this isn't
third
the
one?
Super
Like,
Bowl, you know. And Beyonce is like
But you know,
It's
that's
Beyonce.
Netflix. They want it to be bigger than the
that's
Super
my
Bowl.
point. Is this is not the Super Bowl. Like getting Beyonce to perform somewhere is a fucking huge endeavor.
that check was hefty.
So if you're gonna have her perform at a regular season game, it's gonna be something different than just a halftime performance. Like
Yeah.
I just can't imagine it's like, and now Beyonce, and she does like a 15-minute set, and like, all right, thank you.
Yes,
Yeah, like,
something
like,
else
that's-
is coming.
Has
It
to be something more
be.
because they're gonna. I'm sure they're paying her stupid amounts of money.
Oh, hell
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
She don't leave her house no more unless she get a crazy check.
And again, this is a regular season game. This is not a special game.
Sure.
It's just on Christmas.
Yeah.
So
It's just on Christmas. Yeah, Christmas. Nah.
If we get a Christmas gift from B, what do you guys hope it is?
A tour?
I don't. Yeah. But it feels like a tour is too.
I'm not trying to fight for tour
similar.
tickets again.
Like I mean, I know there's reports that
Or
maybe
she
she was
announces
doing
Act
a
3.
Sphere residency or
I'd like
something.
that.
I think Act 3 is gonna. I don't know if Act 3 is gonna come before Act 2 even closes. That's the only thing.
Act 2 we probably have to wait for that to close at the Grammys.
Is Act 2 not closed?
Well, like I think at least with the Grammys,
I think if she got snubbed, it might have been closed. But she got 11 fucking nominations. I don't think she can close it if she wanted to.
Speaking of Grammys, I saw an interesting thought that somebody put out about now if they're going to Super Bowl, doing all these big stages. Is Beyonce done with anything that's not on this level? Like, are we ever going to see Beyonce do a Grammy performance, show up at any of these? Because, I mean, she didn't do anything for Renaissance, at that time. It feels like all her last things have been. Are we done with seeing Beyonce on, like, not, world-conquering, like, stop-the-moment stages?
Yeah, because you kind of can't go back down unless you are taking that conscious step down across the board. And this has kind of been her MO since the surprise drop in 2013. Like, literally go big or go home. Like, my name needs to be aligned with Disney, Netflix, HBO. Like, this is not, she doesn't want to, she'll show up to the iHeartRadio Music Awards to get a Legend Award, but she won't show up to just, like, sit in the audience anymore. Yeah. That hasn't been her thing for a decade now.
I doubt it.
Damn, Beyonce done gone. She done gone.
Like, we're probably going to see her at, like, the Olympics and World Cup, and, like, that's it. You get to maximize your reach and then stay home with your kids for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
It's kind of her thing now.
Like, why perform at the Grammys? I don't even give her any awards.
Well, they do. I mean,
yeah, they'll shower her and then they'll give her best R&B song and be like, "Okay, smile for us, B." Like,
here, go to the carpet. Add them up. Well, okay. Well, shit.
Like, the only thing I can see her doing is like maybe like on some like I'll do something nice for the community. Is like maybe an anniversary BET Award performance or something, but that's about it. I can't say anything else. I think award show performances are gone.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, in general, like, award show performances haven't been moving the needle in a way that someone like Beyonce needs them. Like, they clearly need her and her presence more than she needs them. So it's like, why would I do that just to get my face plated time and time again? So I get it.
All right. Well, of course, we'll keep tuned to see. If there's anything else that drops about B, of course, I'm sure it's all going to be under wraps. But tune in to Netflix on Christmas. I know, hopefully, that stream is going to be working. I know I'll be there. Hopefully.
It better work.
I mean,
like, I thought people were mad at that.
The Hive is going to, hack.
They going to pull up to Netflix HQ. Yeah. Promise you.
Okay. Sorry, Ted. Ted, watch out.
I
I'm going to be in Houston. If anybody wants to, hook a brother up with some tickets, let me know.
I wonder if she has, like, a contingency plan in place if, like, the live elements of this go awry, which they really might, because the numbers of this are probably going to be along like the
probably has their kids tied up in the basement or something. And she's like,
she got instant. Yo,
I was wondering if she was going to launch something else at another event.
Don't fuck this
she
up.
Could do that too.
Okay. Well, speaking of other Beyonce celebrity power moves, she was one of a few celebrities sort of caught in this firestorm that really came out of nowhere about the election, some of the rallies. Obviously, last time we saw Beyonce in Houston, stumping for Kamala Harris. I just said the facts. Beyonce was in Houston supporting Kamala Harris's rally last time. A lot of talking points come out of that in sort of the post-election that the celebrities in particular, Beyonce, Oprah Winfrey, Cardi B, questions about whether they were paid for their appearances, how much they were paid, if that's a waste of campaign funds. Now, Cardi B came out directly to Candace Owens, said that she was not paid a cent. Oprah came back on social media, refuted those allegations that she herself was paid, just saying her production staff was paid because people need to eat. And Mama Tina out there on Beyonce's behalf saying that she was also not paid. So a lot of this sort of in this post-election, sort of doldrums as people are trying to analyze what went wrong, how it went wrong. I guess 2 points off that. One of the talking points about the celebrities is, do we feel like they hurt? Do they help? There's a lot of hand-wringing about whether the Democratic Party sort of going overboard. You had not only the ones we listed, but you got Katie, you got Lady Gaga out there, and a lot of folks feeling like that might be that sort of Obama playbook might be something that needs to be on the way out.
I feel like a lot of us have forgotten what rallies are and what their purpose is. It's not like, okay, a celebrity endorses Kamala, and because they endorse Kamala, you now have to vote for them if you're a fan of them. It's more so, I'm appearing or I'm performing in this venue. I'm the draw. Now stick around and hear XYZ stump for what their platform is.
We have lost our minds.
And it's like, I also think we have completely overestimated like how effective celebrities are in any capacity when it comes to the election. Like, I really do not think many people went into the voting booth on that Tuesday and were like, well, you know, this side has Beyonce and this side has Kid Rock, so I'm going to go with Kid Rock. Like, I just, no. Like, if you can find me a couple of thousand people who did
that was my calculus.
then like, sure. But I really do think this entire conversation is a massive distraction from actually trying to figure out where the two parties could have done better or done worse or whatever you want to say about the outcome of the election. Like, I don't think celebrities are an important part of that discussion at all. I feel like the focus should be elsewhere. And even with the whole, like, whether or not they were paid or not, I just feel like if Kamala was actually using campaign funds to personally pay these celebrities, that would be a much bigger story. She would have been investigated like crazy. It's against campaign finance laws. Because she lost, they would have been on a witch hunt to get her for that, which they're not doing because it didn't happen. Because Harper Productions is not the same thing as Oprah Winfrey, the individual person. But like I said, everyone's lost their fucking minds and does not know, like, what is what. Like, yes, Harper Productions got paid because someone had to build that stage. Someone had to rig those lights. Someone had to set up the cameras, and they needed to eat. It wasn't, oh, let me go give billionaire Oprah $1 million. What the hell Oprah going to do with $1 million? She's already got $1 billion.
Oprah left it on the couch on accident.
Like, it didn't even make any sense. Like, the fact that they even had to, like, be like, no, I wasn't paid, like, we should really be discussing how to build a better voting coalition or a stronger voter coalition going into the next election than whether or not Cardi B or Jennifer Lopez or Bad Bunny really move the needle or not. Because, I mean, I'm sorry. Look at the amount of records, like, any given album sells in a week, given in relation to the U.S. population. Like, come on. Yeah. The influence is definitely there. It's not as outsized as we would like it to be or as we had thought it could have been. But I don't think it needs to continue to be a discussion going into December. Like, wrap this shit up for real.
Yeah.
Is where I stand on it.
I agree. There's nothing a celebrity can do to hurt unless it's what happened at MSG with Trump, right? When they like just actively go out and denigrate an entire population of people. Beyonce cannot hurt your cause. It's Beyonce. If anything, to Kyle's point, more people probably watched that than like any other of Kamala's.
They did.
Yeah, like that's the only reason you have her there, and I think people are conflating a loss with by Trump going on like Joe Rogan and all these podcasts with Kamala having Beyonce and Cardi B. It's just not the same thing. Like the Joe Rogan. I can't believe we're talking about Joe Rogan. The only reason that the Joe Rogan thing works is because people listen to him for all his weird conspiracy theories and POVs on the world. He has people come on his show and talk. That's completely different to what Beyonce does. It's a completely different profession than what Beyonce has. And so to believe that the two of them are equal is just insane to me. Also, if you look at the exit poll data, absolutely no one, zero people came out and said, man, if only Jay-Z was there.
Like, if Beyonce lost Kamala the election, did Amber Rose win Donald Trump the election? No.
It's ridiculous.
It's stupid across the board. Like,
it's absolutely ridiculous.
The idea that we're even having a conversation about, like, celebrities' places as, like, campaign surrogates even, like, bro, the guy who won was/is a celebrity. Like, what are we even talking about here?
It's ridiculous.
Look, like I said, there's a lot of hand wringing, a lot of questions, a lot of finger pointing. So
I think in regards to like the payment thing, like that, that was a legitimate bullshit rumor. That was a rumor that got started in a fake newspaper that got propagated on X,
Right.
which is a social media platform that is now controlled by a right-wing lunatic, and which has an algorithm that unfairly surfaces right-wing talking points and posts. So, of course, it took off, and like no one for a second thought to themselves, where did this come from? You know, like why are we seeing this all of a sudden? Why is this the thing that's popping up in my feed time and time again?
It was crazy how far it got from the source that it just sort of became.
It
Because
moved
that's how it
so
works.
You know,
quickly.
like, yeah.
Watching it move in real time, like I saw it, like I saw when the first link got circulated. I saw when it hit like the Slack rooms. I saw when it hit my regular iMessage group chats, and I was like, wait, I know the name of this website. This is not a trustworthy site at all.
Hell no.
But people didn't think about that until they were like, damn, Oprah got paid. That's crazy. And she still lost. What? People already had their decisions made up, had their minds made up, saw this and used it as confirmation and kept going.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, everyone is wrong. They're
Yeah.
all stupid.
I think it's nuts, man. I think, but that's if you look at like the way that people use X now, it's I think completely different now to what it was the first time he ran, when Obama was running. It's just a completely different place now, and I don't think it's like a place where I want to say I'm trying not to be offensive to people. I don't think it's a place.
Go ahead.
I'm not gonna do that. I
Come on,
just don't
choosing
think
peace.
I don't think it's a
Right,
place
right.
where consumers who are really looking for information, unbiased opinion, can go and find that anymore. It's just not possible.
Well, there is a place where people are hoping that sort of sentiment will live again. A lot of folks, of course, moving over to Bluesky, leaving X completely after the election. A lot of them are citing distrust of Elon Musk in particular, of course, and sort of the changes that he's made and what they see as a real shift in content and tone, and all those things are getting warped. We've seen a lot of celebrities in the past couple weeks, really not even just move over, but make these sort of these declarations,
Very ridiculous.
These like PR statements. My statement on leaving Twitter, and
Very unneeded.
That girl deactivate.
we see like Lizzo. These are people who have left the site: Lizzo, Gabrielle Union, Don Lemon, Quinta Brunson, Joy Reid. Plenty of other celebrities in the past couple of weeks moving on. What's the viability of not only moving over to Bluesky, but is there enough momentum, energy behind it? Like, what's it going to take for Bluesky to really become particularly a cultural rival to what we've already known and built off X?
I think you're gonna have to bring over what remains of Black Twitter over there. It's like, remember when Clubhouse started and it was like invite
Sort of
only,
Silicon Valley,
Yeah.
like sort of that culture.
and
A
it was
lot
like
of investors,
only tech
a lot of
bros,
tech,
and it was like everyone was like, oh, I gotta get in there, and then you would get in there. I remember getting in there and being like, this is pretty boring. Like, I don't really want to hear about like
Getting in there finally was a crazy experience.
fucking crypto scams.
Like,
That's
this is what
all-
y'all be doing
like,
on
yeah.
here? Like,
Yeah, I was like, this is completely boring. And then they completely opened the door and let Black people in, and it just went nuts. And that was some of the most entertaining, 4 months?
Yo, them rooms.
That was the most entertaining 4 months
The
on
moan
social media
room,
the
in a
throw
long
baby
time.
room.
those unhinged. Like,
It felt like what
Yo.
Twitter used to be, because you would go on Clubhouse and you would hear rappers just talking about whatever, and they would be talking to like random people, like
Yeah.
having arguments
Yes.
about
Yeah.
the dumbest shit with random people. And that's what Twitter used to be. You used to be able to go on Twitter and see Rihanna like clapping back at like a
Yep.
normal person who probably was a fan and just like called her out on something, and Rihanna was like, yo, fuck you. But Clubhouse was like that. It was crazy. And I don't know how you recreate that somewhere else. Like, I don't know what Clubhouse did to like I don't know what alchemy they had that allowed for that. But that's what Bluesky needs. Like, it's all fine and well to be like, oh, there's no right-wing propaganda, everyone's really respectful, and it's not owned by a billionaire autocrat, and it's like, that's all great. But is it entertaining, and is it a place where I can like find community and feel like I'm a part of a larger story when it's happening. That's the thing that they need to figure out how to capture, and I don't know how you do that.
I think they need another feature. I think them being touted as like a complete one-to-one replacement for Twitter with like nothing else is hard, because it's like we're talking about a site that's been entrenched in our global culture for a decade and a half plus. So it's like that doesn't get taken away in 2 years. I remember the first
you spent all this time like making these connections, and
like I've been on Twitter since 2013. Like that's 10 plus years that I now have to like rebuild on another app that's essentially the same thing, but my fingers are already trained to open up that specific app on my phone. Like when I have Bluesky downloaded. I have an account set up. I have not opened up the app once in the past week because my routine is to open up Twitter instead. And until they can get past that, I don't know how you do that. And I think Clubhouse being audio only or audio dominant was a big get for it, and I saw a lot of that similar energy in Spaces on Twitter also. So I think if they can harness that for Bluesky, that could work. But yeah, maybe the answer is get back to physical media and books and real news.
Start reading books again.
Get the fuck off of social media.
Yeah. I think that's the other thing. Like, I think people are tired of social media.
Like new apps, new products.
I think like there's fatigue setting in. We've had like, if you think of it on some like Web 2.0 shit, like we've had this for a while, and when the blockchain came about, everyone was like, oh, this is going to be the new thing. We're going to have like these new products and these new ideas, and then that never happened. I think people are like just exhausted of this paradigm, and they're waiting for the next one.
Yeah,
usernames,
we're not really into like text-based microblogging anymore. Like now it's kind of just like daily vlogs and get ready with me's and like on TikToks and stuff like that. Like I remember the first time people tried to do a Bluesky like switch. I remember when people tried to switch over to Spill, like the black-owned version of Twitter, and that didn't really take off all the way.
I mean, even Threads.
Threads, like people have had alternatives and they haven't worked. They've tried, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we just don't need to let it slide, die a slow death, and leave it be.
Well, to that point, we haven't seen too many hip hop artists make the switch. At least publicly, it seems like. We mentioned Lizzo. I seen Flavor Flav over there, but few and far between in terms of a lot of the current crop of superstars making that switch. Right, so, maybe we need some more powerhouses to get over there, and Black Sky can be formed.
Black Sky.
So, look. I like that.
I like Black Sky.
All right, before we get out of here, of course, got to give our lightning round quick picks of some of the things we've been listening to in the past couple of weeks. And we'll start with you, Dane.
Word. Mine is Ruthless by Freddie Gibbs. It's off his new surprise album, You Only Die Once. He dropped it on Halloween. I think the album's great. It's just him rapping for like 12 tracks or so. And I like Freddie Gibbs because I think he's an incredible rapper, but two, I think he has like an emotional clarity that a lot of rappers lack. Even rappers who purport to that being their whole thing. Like the way he raps about on this song, Ruthless, is him rapping about the way that he constantly falls in love with the wrong people. And this is like something that like, someone like Drake raps about a lot. But like, just like the depth and like the honesty that Freddie's able to bring to a song like this is really startling. And he's done it multiple times on multiple albums. I just love when he does it. The production is great. It's over Tony Tone sample.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. And he did the thing that everyone, wants rappers to do, where he had like a really preposterous, crazy few weeks or a month, I think, on social media, where he was like beefing with Benny.
Oh, yeah.
His ex-girlfriend called him out and exposed him. Won't get into what she exposed.
Chaotic time.
Very chaotic. And he was just like, all right. And he just disappeared. He like stopped tweeting for a while. You didn't see him pop up. And I think the only time he popped up was like at a Kanye show in Miami. And then that was it. And then he came back with this album. And I think now he's going to like actually get back into being a rapper. So.
I mean, look, shout out Freddie Gibbs. You like Freddie is just one of those artists who the consistency is always there. So anytime he puts out something, like it's gonna hit. You know what? I think I'll go next. and take the seat. I want to give a shout out to Corday in particular. He dropped the entire project, The Crossroads, which I think is really probably his strongest album in my opinion. Definitely a step up from Bird's Eye View. He's really just sort of got back to I know it sort of sounds cliche to say finding himself, but I think he really took his time with this one. It seems very methodical, deliberate. In particular, a couple tracks that are worth shouting out, but in particular, I want to give a shout out to the one with Jordan Ward and Raven Lene, which is Don't Walk Away. In particular, I think that one is good because I love the beat on it, and I like the use of the features. Jordan Ward, I know, is somebody who a lot of R&B cats have been watching as hopefully somebody who can break through and continue to lead the genre. He's been out for a couple of years, and the tastemakers definitely know who he is, and he's building that profile. Put out a project with Junie not too long ago, and I feel like when Jordan's on any track, he just kind of floats in this way that, like, I'm not gonna call it Sunday morning because I think that gives a little more like churchy vibe to it, but he's like a Saturday morning, which sort of ironic because I know there's a track called Saturday Morning on the record with Wayne, but there's a nice sort of like haziness, like an easy, like, you just get up, you ain't got nothing to do, like, the sun is shining, we're not in the black sky, we got a lot of just like, ease and vibe to it. So I think that really helps. And of course, Raven Lene, sort of in that same position, people are really looking out for her, hoping that she can, break through and continue to be one of the forefront stars of the genre. And the fact that all three of them are playing on this little 3-minute song keeps it from being too stale. Obviously, Corday holds it down with his verse in the middle. So I just think it's a really good collaboration. But check out the whole record. There's the track with Joey Badass, Syrup Sandwiches is really good. Wayne's on a couple of tracks. Both of those, he really knocks out his feature verse. So really Corday, I think, put together something that's really solid.
Or, yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Bring us home, Kay. What's up?
Yeah, I'm gonna put on for R&B. My track is "Bending My Rules" by Flo. Flo is the R&B girl group from the UK that's been trying to establish themselves on both sides of the pond for the past couple years, and they finally put out their debut album last week. Very, very strong record. I prefer the back half to the front half of it, but this is a track that's just nice, straight up R&B. Camper produced it. He's one of my favorite R&B producers right now. It's about, you have rules for yourself and your love life, and then you come across that special somebody who makes you want to break all of those rules, and they harmonize beautifully. It's kind of just like this legitimate wall of sound with them because all of their voices are so individually dynamic, and when they come together on a track, it really is gorgeous. Excited to see what this album does for them. I know they just announced their tour, so maybe we will eventually get another R&B girl group at the forefront, but we'll see. At least they have material that warrants it.
Yeah, I remember Flo has been one of the ones in the ether for a minute. And people thinking they were going to open for the Renaissance tour.
I wrote about them for our artists to watch list this year.
Yeah, there's been a lot of interest in them. So, just glad that they're able to put that album out and really deliver on that promise. Because I know a lot of cats for a couple of years have been really excited to see what they can bring to the table. Appreciate y'all rocking with us. We will be out next week celebrating Thanksgiving. So we'll see you on the other side of the holiday. As always, thanks for keeping it here with Billboard Unfiltered.